Everyone, how are you? Hope you're doing good. Hope you got a smile on your face, and no matter what life's throwing at you, you're alive and you're happy and you're well. I'm Patricia of Divine Guidance with Patricia. I'm so excited to be here today. I get excited every time I come on this show. But I'm really, truly excited today. I have a guest that is, wow. I met this lady a few years ago, and the person that introduced us is no longer in either one of our lives. And thankfully so, because a lot of havoc was created. But okay. Out of it came this beautiful being who we are now friends with. Sometimes I think of her as a sister, sometimes as a daughter, giving away my age. But mostly I think of her as a dancer of celestial light. When I think of Charlotte Nickel in my mind, I see the flow of divine energy. I've met a lot of beautiful beings in my life. You all know that. I've bragged about it or talked about it. This being, everyone is so unique, and this beautiful being lets me see parts of my ancient soul come to life and dance with her when we talk. She's an artist. She's a humanitarian. She is one who listens to spirit, even though she doesn't like it, like me at times. And there she is. I'm going to introduce you. Charlotte, I would like for you to tell us a little bit before we get into your artwork, a little bit, who is Charlotte Nickel? When did you wake up? What's going on? And how have you listened and followed that path? Hi.
Hey, good morning, and you're looking stunning as usual. And thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate you, and the feeling is mutual to all of the above. You're my fam. Well, who am I? That is a good question. Lately, I've been examining that and trying to figure that out. But from my understanding, I'm here as a worker. I'm here as some kind of energetic force, assisting in however I can to help Earth in this current time. And I've been having visions and messages telling me that just to be here and to assist people in remembering. There's a lot to that right now that I'm still figuring out, but I'll do my best to let whatever it is speak through me to explain it. Basically, I feel like I'm here with the movement towards creating Earth as a paradise, getting away from the old programming, all of that, and helping us bring love here. Maybe a battery. I think that's all I can come up with right now. As far as who I am, Stardust. I don't know.
Yes, and that's a beautiful song. Let's take a look at Charlotte at 9 or 8. I don't know why, but you know me, I'm going to follow spirit too. Where's Charlotte Nickel at 8 or 9?
I grew up on Vancouver Island, and I was in nature constantly. And at that time, I was painting, and I remember always having these pretty clairvoyant dreams coming up. I was very clear before the age of being a teenager and adult and all that conundrum of trying to figure out the world. And I was extremely clear, and I would have visions, I would have dreams of the possible futures. I was always in touch with nature because I grew up on Vancouver Island. My parents were into the land, they were hippies, all natural, and I was a bit of a loner. I just had a couple of friends, and all I would do was go to the forest constantly. And I always felt like I could connect with animals. I always understood the plant language, and it's coming to me all the time. And I also had an intrinsic understanding of the world somehow via nature and the spirit world. I lived amongst my best friend was native, so I was actually I learned a lot from the native culture there of the islands. Just beautiful about. Uh, I have to say that the outlook there is that they appreciate the ancestors, they appreciate nature, the language of the animals, the language of the plants. And I also was brought up with that, with my aunt and uncle teaching me about the medicine wheel and going to sweat lodges when I was little. And I grew up with that indigenous native wisdom and learning about my background, which is my grandmother is Laplander from the Arctic Circle. So I had the native teachings from the north and the south all the time. And through the dream time, that's how I was brought up, to talk to plants, to ask if I pick a flower, to ask permission to give tobacco and sage. So I grew up with all of that understanding, and that those are my memories.
That's amazing. It sounds like the understanding of giving back, and that it all being full circle energy.
Yes.
That's a beautiful way to grow up. I wish I had grown up. I did at 27, but not as a child. So that amazes me that people have been able to have that experience when they're young, and can fully digest it. So in talking, when you said talking to the plants, I remember you, I think it was about a year ago we were talking, and you were so excited because you were making your own paint from nature, yourself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I have to compliment you and Pat, because you've helped me understand more and or remember, be reminded of the grid and the layers of the universe, and how the ripple effect that through showing a painting and what I paint with, and the, you know, the temple that I hold as my studio, it ripples out through time and space. And I do remember that, and that made a big impression on me. And going back to that through the ripples of time, I have been learning about the old masters' techniques and the difference between synthetics and real oil paint. And nothing against acrylic painters. I started out as an acrylic painter because I was just petrified of oil paint. The cost, it was so scary because it's quite complex actually. But the more that I got into it, the more that I understood the intrinsic value of the properties of the crystalline structures of the oil paint. They all come from earth. They come from special areas in on the planet, and crystals, when charged, obviously, I mean they're powerful within themselves, but when you charge them, and when you put your love and your energy and you focus, and when I create a bit of a ritual, what I mean ritual is that awareness from start to finish of my space, my thoughts, my feelings. When I'm working with the oil paint, I grind down the pigments and I use special oils. Everything is a process. Everything is special. And I'm taken back in time, and I speak to the oil paint. I play music for it. I'm present with it, and it actually refracts the light quite differently. You can create optical illusion with oil paint because every crystal in the pigment is a different structure, and it bounces light off so differently the canvas rather than acrylic. So it's very special and magical. It's very special.
Goodness. You see this, people? I wrote it in my introduction. The passion that you have for what you do, it's infectious. I can feel it going through every fiber of my being while you're talking about it. And that's what I love about you, because it's so real and it's alive. Like as you're explaining it, I can feel the molecules and everything. So we're coming up to our first break. So what I would like to do is, if you had a word that you could pull out from your soul and your heart that says Charlotte, what would it be? And I'll give you time to think about that as we take our first break. And time is flying and I'm loving it. And we'll be right back after this with Charlotte Nickel. Okay, welcome back to Divine Guidance. How are you doing, everyone? Um, if anyone noticed, Charlotte's the same as myself and everyone else, that when you're talking about self and you're so much of service to others, that when you start talking about the service, you leave the self behind. So I didn't want to let her off the hook, Charlotte. So I wanted to come back and ask you if you have one word from the soul and from your heart that said Charlotte to you, what would that be?
The first word that came up was love.
Aw, yeah.
Yeah. Deep underneath it all is love.
Yeah, absolutely. In a few dissertations that we've received from Archangel Uriel, Gabriel, Metatron, all of them, it's the two pillars are respect and honor, but the holder of all the gateways is love. So the highest gateway, not, and then, you know me, I don't like higher, lower, up or down, or labels I try to stay away from. But the two pillars of respect and honor, and then the gateway that holds all the divinities is divine love. So wow, yeah. Okay.
Perfecto.
All right. So where are you now? And let's have a little tiny bit of story of where you are, where you've been, and why you are, and why you've been.
Okay, right now I'm in beautiful Santa Cruz, California, which is about 2 hours south drive down the coast from San Francisco.
Okay.
And I came back here. I left for a little bit, and then I came back here for 2 weeks. And what happens in Santa Cruz is it's a little vortex. So this happens to pretty much everybody I've talked to, where it calls you back in, and then all of this, it's like a soup. All these things start to cook, and everything just started coming together with all these projects. So I'm sticking around here for a while.
Okay.
As
And
it called me.
when you and I first met and communicated, you were in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, right?
Yeah, I was in Calgary for a little bit, but it just I was ready to go. It's a little too cold there for me.
And then you were working on a humanitarian project that you put a lot of energy and a lot of work into. And that was in another country, wasn't it?
Well, I was gearing up to put together an organic farm in Nicaragua. This was before that little revolution, that crazy time happened. I think it was a couple years ago, and I just decided to opt out because it was yeah, it was pretty bad down there, and I don't want to really go into the violence that was happening,
Right.
but it wasn't safe. And the idea was, it was kind of like a dry farmland, but my friend and me wanted to turn it into a nature preserve and do all organic farming and help the community. But yeah, it was too chaotic. So I was in touch with the ancestors and spirits that I had to be there, and then I just decided that time was done, whatever I had to do there. So
Yeah, so many times. I mean, there's many times that our physical presence actually has to touch the ground somewhere. And then there's other times that you keep feeling like you gotta go to Africa, gotta go to Africa. And so I just say, okay, sit down and call on the deity of Africa. How may I assist you? And many times it's not about just being there physically until it is time. Usually you do some work with the ancestors, some work with the deities of the land before you're even able to have your presence there. Because usually if you're coming forward to work with a piece of land or part of Mother Earth, then you're bringing forward things that may have been locked away for eons and eons and eons, or you're helping to create a new. But the land and the earth, they're the boss. Like it's
yeah,
not the other way
yeah,
around.
exactly.
And I just feel
Yeah,
like
regardless.
in a lot of spiritual circles, they're putting the cart before the horse. We're not making a new world. Earth has done her ascension and her work. We are
Right.
creating the new world that we want to align ourselves with her beautiful new energy. And I just see that it's always, what all I'm hearing is, we're making this. No, we are making ours and deciding if we're going to stay with her as she has already ascended, then we need to do some work. We need to create our own world here inside of us and then reach out to others in unity. That's how I hear it. I don't know. I'm usually
That's
halfway over the
precisely it. Yeah, you're saying exactly in better form, I think, than I have. But that was the essence of what I was mentioning when you asked who I was and what am I doing here? And that's what I feel is like in this timeline, whatever that is, if you call it a timeline,
It's okay.
plopped down here for the work that whatever work I'm supposed to do through the art and all of that, whatever land it is on the sphere, all the ancestors know. I could go to Nicaragua, I could be in Santa Cruz, I could be wherever, and it's still the same message of whatever. Even though it's definitely challenging here at times, for sure, for the ones for some of us that are getting through the work and helping people. We just focus on that, focus on what we're supposed to do, because it goes beyond this blip in time that I'm here, I think, here physically, so to speak, but still figuring that out.
Yeah, I always thought the human race is really egotistical to think that they have like
Ooh.
seven. I no, I do. I'm sorry, I say it. You know me. You got 70 to
Yeah.
80, 90 years in form, and that's all Creator made you for. Okay, right. And the same thing
Yeah.
goes with, and that's why I really enjoy the teachings of ancestors are not always behind us. We could be communicating with ancestors who are ahead of us, and that's a whole different ballgame. But
Right.
to live our life in a way that we create and provide for the 7 generations at least coming forward, that is such a responsibility, a right, and what a blessing and what a gift to be able to put something here. And maybe not have our great great grandchildren say, "Oh, Nanny Mom did that," but just that they have it, that they experience it. Like, wow, I mean, that takes my breath away.
Well, I feel like you're right there. And the other message that was coming is that in the quantum field, my future self or we, whoever we are, we come from that time in between times, and we see how it is in the future. These are all the dreams I had in my childhood. I would wake up to such realistic situations of either like the yin and the yang of things, the dark apocalyptic or the paradise. And so my messages have come back here to help the others to shift that into the mode of the paradise, because it's totally possible. And I feel that whatever I'm doing here, even with the art or even just being every day and practicing and being strong and bringing forth that energy and just being loving and all of that is a message that I'm getting right now.
Awesome. You get in that zone, aren't you, darling?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a beautiful place to be. So we're talking about the
Yeah.
land, and we're talking about you being connected with the ancients and ancestors, as you call them. And so I'm looking on my phone here at this beautiful artwork that you created called Healer of Siberia. And we'll get Jacob to put
Oh
that up on the
yeah.
screen for the audience. But if you can, I know you can't actually see them right now, but if you can just close your eyes and connect with that artwork that you did and give us some understanding of your part of this beautiful painting.
So what just let go and kept moving through and letting it paint itself or letting it come forth is my goal is to paint a series of healers from the medicine wheel, the directions, the healers from all the directions. She's the start of all the female healers from the 4 directions of the planet, and I'm going to be incorporating the different the mineral, animal, all the different worlds there. But this first one, she the Healer of Siberia was well, I have some Russian and Arctic Circle blood in me, so it's pretty interconnected. The teachings from way up north, the interactions down south. My aunt had told me that that's how a lot of the medicine wheel information had been passed back and forth. So I wanted to represent that, the medicine teachings passed off throughout the world, psychically or otherwise physically. So this lady, she has, in the larger picture, she has 2 eyes on her hat, and I got the image from an Orthodox Russian church, but she's holding her hand in a sacred way. And I have the energy fields going throughout her and crystalline structures. I made that in a way, I programmed the crystals and I brought forth that Siberian energy. Now on her hat with the eyes come from Siberian shamans. And what they do is they use the Amanita muscura mushroom caps for their healing. So that comes from one of the images of the ladies that I've seen healing with the mushrooms. And on either side of her red robe, she has, that you can't see in the photo, but it's on my Instagram. There is a famous Russian ballet dancer, and I used images from that, the masculine and the feminine on either side, and a moon to represent the femininity. And then the DNA, I have this thing about DNA structure. I don't know why, it just keeps coming up. But the crystalline structures from the moon underneath, the DNA comes up like this, spirals up into the eyes, and then the field just, it comes out around her.
Wow.
And so the whole idea was getting the balance of the masculine and the feminine, and just making that the start of representing the some of the forgotten, unseen healers in the remote areas that come to me to tell me to paint them. Whatever timeline that is, I don't even know. They're just coming through for me. So
it's to me, looking at it, it's absolutely amazing. It's like, and I've only got the top part and her face, but
yeah,
it's almost like she's peeking through
yes,
this beautiful field of
mhm,
consciousness. And
yes,
it's like, and when you were talking, and I know we're supposed to go for a break, Jacob, but we're going to skip this break because we're just really getting into it. So thank you though, Jacob. So what I get is that field of consciousness, she's coming through, but she's not only coming through it, it's like she's pulling everything and her knowledge in with her, and the eyes are activating it. And as you were going with the DNA strands, I really felt like, and because it's based on the medicine wheel, I mean, the knowledge I have of the medicine wheel is the male stones being removed, whether they did or whether it was done. But what a beautiful way to bring the male medicine back in, so that male and female energy can be as one. I know I'm going off, but I love your artwork. I
oh,
love it. So the crystals.
I also wanted to mention.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I wanted
No,
to
go
mention
ahead.
one more thing about in her face. 2 more things quickly.
Okay.
I
Sure.
used the GANs that I received. I've used that also along with the crystals, programming the crystals. But her face, you see a lot of dots. But what it is that in that healer medicine time, the magic, the alchemy, what happens is we start this, whatever this is, it starts to go into the field. And that's what I was doing with her face. The kind of the distortion around it into the energy fields is becoming one with the energy.
Wow.
And that was a little adage that I did with Gans. She kind of disappears into the energy field, but her eyes and her face are there, and her hands doing the sacred prayer. But everything kind of, it becomes distilled in a way, even though it's pixelated, it's distilled, it's purified into the field.
So you just pulled a fast one on me, Miss Charlotte, because I saw this. He did. I know that my husband sent you the Gans water, and I started to see the crystals go on, but I've never seen the finished product. And when you sent me the pictures or the paintings for today, this one just, I couldn't let it go. And so, there's a connection from our home, our work here in this painting. And I honestly, audience, I
Yeah.
was not aware of it. She did not tell me.
Those
So,
are your
wow.
crystals you sent me. Those are the crystals from
Oh
the
my
grid you sent
goodness.
me.
No way.
Uh, yes, yes. The selenite. The selenite. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Nice surprise, Charlotte. I'll get you back
Yeah.
later. That is a beautiful. That's beautiful. I love it. You are so bad. Okay. Which one would you like to move on to next? So we're going to move on to the Jaguar, or are we going to move on to the
Secret
forest?
chamber.
The secret
Yeah.
chamber? Okay, Jacob.
I
Let's
can
go
talk
with
about
number
secret
B.
chamber.
Secret chamber.
Okay, so
Oh, wow. That is so, whoa, beautiful. Ooh. Okay, go.
all right. So secret chamber, one day I was looking at power centers. I had this pull to paint power centers in architecture around the world. And I have this connection with Kemet. I really do.
With
And
what?
so one day, Kemet is Egypt, is the original term for Egypt before the
Oh,
Greeks
okay.
came in.
Okay.
Egypt is the Greek term for that part of Africa. Uh, so I got this kind of pull and I found, there's an architectural rendering of the secret chamber in the Great Pyramid. Now, at that time, I wasn't as deep as I am now into my visions. Things started coming up a few years ago when I was in Calgary. Everything just accelerated over there. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to do this for fun. I hand drew all of that. I didn't use a projector or anything. And this painting's probably 4.5 by 6. This thing is really big. And I made most of the paint on there, the oil paint I handmade. So I've got also 24 karat gold leafing,
Oh.
and I had bought 100% pure lapis lazuli pigment, and I made my paint and added that to the grid. If everybody can see, there's a grid.
Mm-hmm.
And what I discovered about the secret chamber in the Great Pyramid is, once I started painting, the background is basically space, or whatever you want to consider space, or the consciousness, whatever, subconsciousness. I don't even know what to call it, the field. And so the more I looked at the painting, I started painting little streams of light at the points in between the grid. And I realized what that secret chamber is. That in the pyramids, they actually have chambers for dematerialization. I've experienced that myself in other times. Is that you would go into these chambers, they would use sound and water and the mystery teachings to get into a state where you could dematerialize, and you could jump time and space into other places, other countries whenever you wanted to. And those were some of the hidden kind of
Mm-hmm.
secrets of the temples and all that. But this whole thing is based on the power centers over there and what they're used for, and the points of consciousness in space and time. Those are all choices and pathways that we make. All the little sparks of light and the gold coming down, it kind of looks like it's raining gold. Those are points in time of, in our mind, when we go into deep space, or whatever you want to call it, however you choose to see it, we're jumping time psychically or otherwise. And when you go into the center, it's almost it's time travel, it's time looping or jumping. I can't quite describe it in words so well, but I'm hoping that I'm expressing it the way that they wanted me to express it. But it's a meditative force. And I've also got the Gans on that painting too, but the gold and the lapis and the other pigments that I had special ordered are all earth pigments. And I actually had focused and meditated on it to make it. It's actually, when you meditate on it, it's, you can actually time travel. That's what that's meant for. So I'm going to do more of those architectural renderings, but you can meditate and time travel. You go into a hypnotic state, and you can actually travel out of body just like in any meditative state. But this one is kind of like not a mandala, but it's similar to that. It's a grid, and it's a language. It's almost like a program in a way where you could go wherever you want, as long as you know that you are centered, you know yourself, and you can go through any doors you want, is what I learned from this chamber. So
That's
that's
amazing.
what it is. Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna look at it too much. It might disappear. So in between, and that's phenomenal. And you know that Nova Scotia is actually that part of Africa that broke off and
Oh,
traveled down the fault line and connected to the North American continent. So that's understanding from master geologists that we have as to why we're back here in Nova Scotia and why I was born here and what's transpiring with that.
oh
So
wow.
yeah, this is amazing. I see the gold, but I also see the copper. And the copper, of course, wow, copper for me is just, yeah, I love copper. It's a huge conduit of spiritual energy and timelines. So beautiful. All right, what I want to do, Charlotte, is can you give out your Instagram? I think Jacob's got it to go on the screen, but if you can just say it out so people know how to contact you.
Yeah, it's Temple Art Studio under Charlotte Nickel on Instagram, and you can see more of the paintings and the videos of the size of them there. Get a better view of everything.
Yeah. So obviously you're in your car because you're out there doing your work, right? You don't have a resident at the moment like society deems, right? Just like my husband and I when we were
Yes.
in the desert in the outback of Australia, living in a borrowed tent and using electric fry pan. But we were
Right.
there
I'm
to
in
work
the
with.
back of my psyche.
That's right. So you go where you go, where you go, where you go, and not at all of us are millionaires, and we've got this thing where you push the
Exactly.
button and have a beautiful tent set up. We live it, and you're living it, and that's part of why I wanted you on the show, because there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and people are saying, well, how can I do this and how can I do that? And I've been kind of stopped from living, and I've been stopped from sharing my gifts, and we're not stopped. You're not stopped. I'm not stopped. And there's other means. And yeah, I mean, I'd rather meet up with people and hug them and share all our beauty. But if this is what we have, this is what we have. And I met my husband online. There's beautiful frequencies on the internet that if we are who are awake can use it in a positive way, in a divine, glorious way to still continue and not be stopped. And I say, hey, let's hallelujah, let's do this.
Exactly.
So I love the fact that, and I have a surprise for you, because once I sign you up as a guest on my show, other hosts all throughout Transformational Talk Radio can contact you to be a host on their show.
Oh my
Yeah, it
gosh.
opens the door. So
Thank you.
and you're welcome, because I really feel that you have a voice through your artwork. You have a voice through your person. You have what people are needing on one level or another. So and that's what my show is all about, putting people on here so that their voice can be heard, and yours is a voice that needs to be heard. So this picture is freaking me out. So I'm gonna be fun before I just all right. So which one would you like to go to next? Do you want to do all 5 of them, or do you want to do one more and then we'll get into? Why don't we do one more and then we'll get into it?
3 is a charm.
3 is the charm,
one
isn't
more.
it? All right.
Okay.
So do I get to pick this one?
You pick it. Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna pick it.
Okay.
Which one am I gonna pick?
I don't know. Whatever you like.
Forest Halls. I love this. This is so beautiful. I love all of them, but I love this one. Look at all the detail in there. Is that a jaguar on the top or a puma?
It is a jaguar, and I've never seen that person in my life. I'm just kidding. The one in the center, not in person, anyways. I'm just, hey, in my dreams, yeah.
There is a person right underneath the jaguar.
Yeah, another healer from
Yeah.
South. Yeah.
Okay, from
Yeah,
where?
it's somewhere in the jungles. They've come to me in the dream before. I'm really connected to the jaguar family. I don't know if you call it jaguar family, but the cat, the big
Why not?
kitties.
They're
So,
family.
uh,
We're all related. Yeah.
yeah, the fam. So that one, I've never done ayahuasca, but I've been particularly interested in it. But it goes beyond that. I've painted that because I had dreams about the jaguars, and I've had visions of the medicine people kind of like waiting for me on, and they'd be on a path, and the jaguar would be on the path. And I had decided to represent the plants and the animals of the jungle, because there are times where, I have taken a lot of mushrooms, psilocybin before, and I'd sit by trees, and automatically the trees have, as we know, this psychic root. I don't know if you call it big, but the root system connects to everything around the earth. And so I'd be connected, like watching television, to the jungle. And when I grew up, my dad was really against deforestation. And when I grew up on the island, and I was almost born in Costa Rica. Like my mom was pregnant on the way to Costa Rica,
Okay.
but I was born in Canada. And so I've always had this major connection to the jungle there. And this one dream I had was where I was floating over the top of the jungle, and there were 5 pyramids. There was one in the center and 4 on the side, and this panther came out the center. And it wasn't the only time I've had those kind of connections with the jaguar, but I also had added some of your crystals and the dance on that one as well. But I wanted to represent that as a power that would leap out of that, and bring forth whoever that medicine person is, to bring forth that and recall the energy and bring that out in visionary form, bring it over here. So that also has the 4 directions on it with the paint. And there are also, in the top right corner, I did paint extraterrestrials and a spaceship, and I have fragments of crystal coming off of that, but also butterflies of transformation, and how the eyes of the butterflies in the jungle, they do watch, because they're spirits of the jungle, and they take off in butterfly form. They're just other messengers also from the spirit guides and the ones who protect the forest. They're like little cameras, not cameras, but little, how do you call it? They float around in sea, and they distribute information throughout the forest, is from my understanding. And the metaphor of transformation is there too. From the jaguar medicine, from human form, the transformation into cat form in the forest when going on specific journeys with the medicine. Not that I've done the medicine in this form, but those were the messages for me, or for whoever that I, from my understanding.
Well, I got a couple things from it. Do you want me to? Can I share?
Yeah, always.
Okay. So to me, the transformation between a jaguar or a panther usually means a healing of a sexual endeavor. And so regrowth through that breaking of that sacred canal in your body, and that sacred canal is connected to the spirit and the soul and the life and all the way through. So what I see coming down the crystals from the extraterrestrials is like an assistance, a pouring of love, a pouring of healing for that that whoever this painting hits, to offer healing in that area. The other thing that I see is the 5 flower of life underneath the healer. And that tells me that there's a time lock for that. And I don't want to get into sexual stuff, but it hit me that way. So I have to be honest that way. So the healing, the time for healing of all men and women that have been harmed in any way, in that
Yeah.
sacred is coming forward. And I think that you're going to be part of activating it with, I think there's something left on this painting uh, that you're going to bring in
Well,
when
I
it's
have I have done and am doing work in the field of sexual healing and working with
oh,
a lot of traumatized people. I have been doing that for a few years. I was trained in a temple in Canada, and I can't tell you how fucked up people are. I mean, I'm not
oops.
not everybody, but oops, sorry, F bomb. I'm Canadian, excuse me, but no, but the amount of abuse and amount of the memory and the genetics, well, that's not always the case, but there's so much trauma and misinformation and confusion and sadness. It's unbelievable. Like every person I've worked on over like almost 400 people in Canada, and it's just amazing the like even connected to spirit, that liberation of pure, it's pure consciousness. It's the
It
connection to
is.
the all, and the healing through that is really needed, especially during these times. Well, anytime. I mean, you go throughout history. I think where the feminine and masculine also comes through in my paintings is that need of balance. Even now with I'm going to say it, the overuse of feminism, and the imbalance with men, what's going on with men. I'm all for feminism in a healthy way, but anything in its extreme, I'm not cool with. So I am also bringing forth that we cannot forget the sexual energy aspects of everything. So that's also what I feel is part of it. We can't forget that. So important to
I
bring
agree
love into
totally.
it.
And I didn't, I just didn't mean to bring the show, but this
No,
is your
it's good you
painting,
brought
this
that
is
up.
your information, and I'm really glad that you were open enough to share that, because there
Yeah.
is a lot going on right now with that. And I don't know, a lot of victors at this time are really being hit with this energy. I mean, there's some huge stuff
Ooh.
happening in the world screen right now, and there's on many different levels. And so I just encourage and I reach out, and I offer divine respect and divine grace to any male or female
Yes,
or
yes.
child. Uh, Leave the sacred sacral alone. It is now needs to be untouchable. And it hit me with this extraterrestrial in the top painting, because that's what I saw coming out. I saw coming out all of that to just kind of protect and to heal and to let go. And you can't let go of that crap. Don't everybody says Nike it, just get over it. Just walk away. Each one is each one is each one is each
It's
one.
gonna bounce until it's gonna keep catching our attention until we listen, whatever that is. And also wanted to add with the crystals that you have that I've used. I What I've done through my programming of the crystals is I've actually, and the images and all that, the energy, the GANs, is that I'm actually programming. I program the paintings to help people it's my little art revolution, my spirit revolution that I don't really tell people, but in a most loving, the light of light is I do that to help people box. I help people to have that little key. When they look at it, it does something without them knowing, because a lot of people are in a daze and a lot of people not. But during these times, there's a big hypnosis going. So I am actually creating an art revolution without having to say anything. It's on a whole nother soul level that I'm doing all this stuff.
Well,
That's what I have to do.
I'm glad you shared that part, because that's very obvious in your artwork. And we just had a living example, and that's how Earth teaches, by experience. So when I'm looking at this and I'm getting hit with that, and I'm like, what's this got to do? But I will follow spirit, just like and you will follow spirit, and out it comes. So the
Yeah.
healing attributes, I mean, all art is healing. All art is triggering. It's a way to express. I'm here. I'm talking like I'm an artist. I'm not. We've only probably got about 7 minutes left of the whole show. We haven't done a break, and that's okay, because we're just going. But I do want to have you back. And I would like to have you back, and I would like to work with like one specific painting and take
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
all the way through, almost not like a workshop, but like a living experience of that creation and the intention and all of that, because I'm blown away with what you do and how you do it. And humbly, you don't mention that it is a healing trigger. It's a transformational healing. If anyone who looks at this painting is open and wants to go through that, or wants to be open to any part of healing, that they might have get up in the morning and said, "Oh, I want to work on this." And then they look at one of your paintings and there it is. And the painting's going, "Okay, well, you did ask and you are wanting, so here it is." Boom. I don't know how to explain it better than that. Can you help me?
Well, no, you're right, but it's unlocking the keys to the psyche of certain things, certain lines, and certain images and symbols that are helping us uncover our libraries, whatever that is. But also, I just wanted to thank you because you've helped immensely with the GANTs and the crystals, because that's what I meant by the programming, the emanation of the healing energies, not just looking at it. I have meditated over these crystals and GANTs to the super consciousness of the ethers, whatever it is, to emanate. When people walk in front of it, they don't even have to look at it. It's going to come off and help their bodies, whatever else, heal. That's what I'm doing. I'm programming the paintings to do, to come off throughout time and space. So
That's
thank you.
amazing. You're welcome. We've got about 1 minute, so connect with Charlotte on Temple Art Studio on Instagram. Oh, I still got
Yes.
5 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, as we talk, I might get Jacob just to add up a couple, the other two paintings for the audience to see, but we won't talk about them. I want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you. I want to make sure I'd like to have you as a guest again. That's given.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you would like to say to our audience? Anything that you would like, a message or anything that you would like to give? I always give my guests the last word. And I want to say thank you, Charlotte. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'm so happy and honored
Love
that
you
you came on the
too.
show. So the floor is yours until we go out.
Yeah. I just want to tell everybody, you're not a victim. You can think for yourself and to know to remember everything that you came here for, and not to let any of them fool you with the charades and the theatrics of this circus. It's all a facade, and we are sovereign beings. We can do whatever we want, and if we stick together, we have all the power to turn this place into paradise, into the best place you ever imagined. It is possible. It's up to us to know, and to know that we're ending this cycle of darkness. And don't worry, they're trying to get their claws into us because they're losing grip. And that's what usually happens at the end of a cycle. So don't every day focus and be kind to people and recharge yourself, and stay focused on your thoughts, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're treating people, and be kind at all times, no matter what anybody looks like, if they're homeless, whatever. And always be true to yourself and have fun.
Charlotte, you're such a joy.
That's it.
And one day we'll actually physically get the hug. That'll be amazing. So
Oh, I know.
I want to say thank you to everyone in my audience. I'm taking a look at my website and going to do some new changes and rearranging and stuff like that, because I'm being guided to do more work directly with people as well. So I'm opening up that door shortly. shortly. And so my website is divineguidance.earth. So take a look at that if you like. And next show, I believe it's the 19th. I'm not sure. No, hold on. We're the first 14 to 15. Do your math, Trish. Okay. The next show I'm going to have is Zala. He's been a guest previous with me. He's the founder of the Center of Transformation in Calgary, Alberta. And Zala's bringing forward a beautiful, beautiful message for Christmas time and how to bring the magic back. So thank you, everyone. Look forward to seeing you next time. I got 1 minute to say, I love, I appreciate, join me. I love, I appreciate, I adore you. I thank you. And Trish out. Thank you for listening to Divine Guidance with Patricia on TransformationTalkRadio.com with me, Patricia McNair. Tune in next time to explore more challenges that can help you achieve your whole being. I know we are all capable of truly being whole, and with a little empowerment, anyone can access an entire universe of knowing that is just waiting to be explored. For more information about me and my services, visit divineguidance.earth. That's divineguidance.earth. See you next time, where together we focus on solutions for the whole being.